Hi, Gail Minogue back again on numerology, and today I'm not going to talk about the coronavirus, heavenly day, because everybody is, and I was going to talk today about the number 19, because there was a recent incident, and it's probably been shoved under, nobody's pays attention to it, of the number 19 was recently a mass shooting. I don't know, it was April 19 or March 19. I think it was April 19, and that was the day that there was a mass shooting in Nova Scotia, and I think 22 people were killed. And the guy dressed himself up as a mounted policeman. He was actually a denture creator. He created dentures as young, well, he's about 50 or so. But one of my customers asked me, is this relevant that it happened on the 19th day? And I'd say it's extremely relevant and it's very common. The 19 is a karmic debt day. Remember, I've mentioned before that there were only 4 karmic debts, number 13, 14, 16, and 19. And we've seen many or several world events that happened on the 19th day. The shot heard around the world. It happened actually very late at night, like at 2 in the morning or something like that, on the 19th. And so that was the Concord Lexington. Notice that the British are coming. And then we have Waco on April 19th. We have Oklahoma City bombing on the 19th. And you can just kind of go through history and you'll see things occurring around the globe on the 19th. It's a very common event because it always has to do with power. You have 2 numbers here. 1 is the number 1, and it is power, initiating, let's go. It's the spark, okay? And then the 9 is the opposite. It like stops it in its track. So it's very explosive, okay? And the number 9 is about the human and the humanity and all of that. And the 1 is about the ego and the self. So anybody who has a prominent 19, like Bill Clinton, always is some kind of abusive power. They need to make sure in this life that they correct that. So in his situation, he had a major scandal which almost broke his presidency. And it was never quite the same after he had that scandal. But again, it was abusive power from a prior life that gave him this 19. He decided to do this in this lifetime. So you want, to correct it or take it on, shall I say. And so when I see someone like the Nova Scotia shooter, he does the event on the 19th, yes, it's relevant. And yes, you can go through history on this day and see major world events that will give you the same incident of sudden, abrupt power being crashed and burned. So like Waco, Oklahoma City bombing, the shooting, shot heard around the world. There was another event in Japan. I don't know if it was a tsunami was on the 19th, but it's always a major negative event, major surprise, challenging, tough, and you will understand why, because it's the abuse of power. So when it happens to a society or when it happens into the world, okay, there's something to pay attention to. Why does this keep reoccurring? Now, if you're born with the 19 day, say you have a 19, you're born on, say, April 19, okay? Well, then you need to understand, be very careful, because you're treading on that fine line of where power lies. And if you can do, honestly, the up and up and not abuse your power, keep that straight and narrow, ethical, all that kind of stuff, you'll come out okay. But if you don't, it's just a matter of time. And if it's on the 19th day, that signifies the event's going to happen in the middle part of your life. Okay, so keep on the up and narrow. All these, what we'll call karmic debt numbers, 13, 14, 16, 19, depends where they sit in your chart. For instance, if your life path is the number 19, that means your date of birth, your year of birth, and everything adds up to a 19, month and day and year, say it comes out to a big number and reduces to 19, you're carrying some of that. If the soul number from the vowels comes out to 19, you've got old past life stuff there. Again, still going to play out. Each, wherever it hits, where it's in the vowels added together, the consonants added together, or the entire name added together, it's significant. But each one has a different element. For instance, the number 16 is always a debt to be paid of faith over fear. So if you're born on a 16 day, it makes you very philosophical, very smart, but remember, underneath, you better develop a strong faith so you don't have to be so tested on faith over fear. So I had a client one time born on a 16 day and was accused of child molestation and had to go through a major court battle. I remember I had to testify at this, and it was remarkable. The hundreds of thousands of dollars to pay for the attorneys. The person was found innocent, but it pretty much ruined his career and his life because he was a fairly well-known individual. And this was the 16th day, and when he came to me and he said, "Why is this happening to me?" I was able to explain some of how this works and not to go into complete, utter collapse over it. It's working itself out. And again, the 16 is always faith over fear. If you have that showing, develop your faith and make sure you don't have to be tested in that area. Chances are you will be, whether it's an illness or the loss of someone or loss of your money, it's faith over fear. If it shows up in the vowels, meaning all your vowels reduced to the 16, then that would show up that there's infidelity here, and it will be done to you, not to them. It's going to be on you who will be betrayed. So that, it just takes time. We here have blueprints that are 120 years long. We honestly have to remember that just because something hasn't happened, that it won't. It's just like waiting in the wings, shall we say. So if you have one of these karmic debt numbers, live an exemplary life, really have a very ethical life, you'll be fine and dandy. If it's a 14, do not take physical risk with your body. Do not go bungee jumping, ride motorcycles, or be stupid and jump out of planes. Okay? Unless you're forced to by the military or by a drug cartel person. I guess then you have to. But for the most part, you don't take physical risks with the number 14 on your physical body. And then the 13 is always about work. Always about your right work versus what is my work. And then overworking or over-detailed, and you're a super worker. However, it's not necessarily the right work that you're doing. So there's always that. That's the easiest one of the debts, is the 13. That's the one I worry the least amount. But if you can avoid any of these, it would be better. So I just thought I'd bring you up to date on the number 19. Pay attention to historical dates, and you will see this number crop up over and over and over. We're going back to Roman times, okay? So I just wanted to lay that out so that you're aware of that number in future days to come. Thank you. If you want to have a session with me on your own blueprint, you know how to reach me, gailminogue.com, and you can always use my 800 number or just email me. That'll be on the screen, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.